Hey friends, welcome back to the Happy Homestead. I'm Amanda. Today is Thursday, January 5th. It is 5:45 in the evening and I've got to get dinner started. But before I do, I just want to acknowledge a couple of things. I apologize because my voice doesn't sound really good right now. I woke up this morning feeling like I'd been hit by a truck, and I'm actually feeling a lot better now than I did, say, 10 hours ago. So bear with me. I'm hoping tomorrow much better. I think, run down as we all are at any given moment, right? But the liver pieces have been in the dehydrator for well over 24 hours now, and I'm probably going to have them go all night tonight also. So when the pieces that were, kind of together, they come apart really easily. Oh, that one actually did too. I've been checking them throughout the day. Yeah, I just don't think they are totally dry yet. So I'm gonna have them go another 12 hours and then we'll try to pulverize these tomorrow into a powder, but I wanted to give you that update. And it's not so bad now, but earlier, I would say last night and even this morning, I thought I was gonna throw up just because of the smell of the liver through the dehydrator. And I had read that could be off-putting to some people. I was one of them. But now that they're mainly dry, it's not so bad now. All right, so that was that. Tomorrow night, we are having pork chops. This was already kind of on my menu in my brain as far as what we're going to have tomorrow night. But the other night, I was reading this book. This is called The Lost Kitchen, and by Erin French. She's the chef. The Lost Kitchen is a restaurant up in Freedom, Maine. And I got this book for Christmas from my mom and dad. And does anyone else read cookbooks like regular books? Because I do. And so I was reading this in bed the other night and I came across this recipe, and it's on page 169 if you happen to have this book. Rosemary brined pork chops with apples, potatoes, and brandy. And so, of course, the first thing I do is look through the ingredient list. Do I have everything? And I do, except for the brandy, the Calvados, which is like an apple brandy. I don't have that. That's okay. But basically, you start with a brine, kind of like what I did with my ham the other day, which is still in the fridge. But you create a brine of water, salt, sugar, juniper berries, which I actually don't have juniper berries, but then I did peppercorns and bay leaves. And so I put that all together today in a brine, and it's been in the refrigerator. So I'm going to put my pork chops in that because you want them to brine from anywhere to 24 to 36 hours. So by doing it now, it'll be 24 hours. And then this is what we're going to have for dinner tomorrow night. So I'm going to get the pork chops in the brine. Okay, now that the pork chops are in the brine, I've updated you on the liver chips. I guess we can call it that. Let me show you what's for dinner tonight. All right, so this is a mishmash of things that were obviously in our pantry or in our refrigerator. I have leftover pesto salmon from last night, and as well as leftover veggies from last night. I've got one big spaghetti squash, so we're gonna cook this and add in our leftovers. But we're also gonna saute up one lone zucchini, the remainder of an onion, as well as one shallot from our garden, some garlic. I have some andouille sausage that I had got from our last Azure order. We're gonna slice that up and cook it. And then these are homegrown tomatoes in a garlic oil, like an herbed garlic oil. Smelled so good. So I keep them in the refrigerator. I pulled this one out earlier today. So we're going to put all of this together to make kind of like a pasta dish, but with the spaghetti squash. These are lion's mane cakes. So lion's mane is a medicinal mushroom that can be wildly foraged. Sometimes it can be cultivated. And then you cook it and it almost has like a crab-like texture and taste. And so you kind of make like a crab cake, but with the mushroom. And so the kids and I, back in early December, on our way to school, we found a really big lion's mane, and I drove by it probably 2 or 3 times before I was like, yeah, nope, we're getting it. Because I couldn't let it go. It was huge. And we got it one day after school and made a bunch of these lion's mane cakes. And so I froze the remainder of them. So we're gonna add these in with on the side with our meal tonight. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just get the spaghetti squash in the oven. Okay, so I put the spaghetti squash in cut side face down in a 400-degree oven. I'll probably cook it for about 30 minutes. When you put it face down like that, the steam, or the heat rather, creates kind of like a steam-like environment within the squash, and so it helps it cook a little bit just faster. You just have to be careful though, because whenever I cook spaghetti squash and then scrape it out and put it on my plate, immediately like a bunch of water comes out. So I'm going to try something a little different tonight after it's cooked, so that my meal and our family's meal isn't so kind of watery and mushy, because nobody wants that. But I'm not going to start cooking and sauteing any of the other items just yet. I'm going to wait until the spaghetti squash is done, and then I'll start putting everything else together on the stove, because it won't take long at all. Okay, so the spaghetti squash is in the oven. It's almost done. I've got my veggies chopped here. I'm gonna put my stove on medium high. I'm just gonna add a little of the oil from the tomatoes, as well as some fresh cracked pepper. And then this past summer, I made, and you may have caught it when we did the Every Bit Counts challenge, some basil salt with fresh basil from the garden. And so I'm just going to add some of this basil salt and get this all sauteed up. This is something new I'm trying. I'm basically trying to get some of the moisture out of the squash before it goes on the plate. Dinner is served, and I am really excited to eat this one. It just sounds so good to me right now. It smells good. So that is day 5 in the books. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey friends, welcome back. Today is Friday, January 6th, so it's the 6th day of the 3 Rivers Challenge, and my liver and heart bits are fully dehydrated. They have been going for about 36 hours. Let me get out of the frame so you can see this better. So pretty dry. And thank you for all of the suggestions. A lot of people said, you know, save them as dog treats. And I probably will do that, because I have a feeling as I go through and try to powder these in the Vitamix, I just think from experience, it's not all going to get into this beautiful fine powder, right? So any of the larger chunks that maybe just don't grind down as well, I'll absolutely give them to our dog. So I am going to put these in the Vitamix. It is going to be super loud. So I am going to actually mute the audio for you when I do the editing so you don't have to be subjected to this loud noise. Okay, that actually went a lot better than I thought it was gonna go. Ooh, but the smell is potent. Oh my goodness. The smell is potent. Yeah. I don't know if I want to sprinkle this in any food. I just don't know. Holy guacamole. Oh my goodness. But on the bright side, it powdered up really well. I do think I'm going to make some of the capsules at some point. All right, let's get this into a new bowl and get the rest of this ground up. You want to make sure that whatever blender you are using, it's really dry in here, right? Any moisture is gonna, make this whole thing go bad. All right, for the time being, I'm gonna put this in this 1/2 gallon mason jar. I don't even want to touch it. I know I'm not making this whole process seem really good, but I am very aware of all of the vitamins that are available right now in this powder. So that is not lost on me. Oh gosh. And I will find some way to incorporate this into our health plan. I don't know yet how, but I will. I'll keep you up to date on what I decide. I'm curious if you've done this with a freeze dryer, if it has the same distinct aroma. Very curious. Well, 1/2 gallon, well, no, what, 1/4 gallon's worth. Oh, yeah. Let's put a lid on this puppy and call this done. Okay, it is only 1:30 in the afternoon here, but I do have my dinner stuff kind of out on the counter. The pork chops are still in that brine that we did yesterday, so they'll have been in there about 24 hours before we start cooking. But one of the things that I love about this challenge, and if you're doing it yourself, you realize that planning is key. And it forces you to really think ahead, right? It could be as ahead as 24 hours or 12 hours when you need to take some meat out of the freezer, or it could be a couple of days in advance, or even a week or 2 weeks up in advance, just like I'm doing with curing that ham in the brine in the fridge for 2 weeks, right? Something else that I want to get about a week's head time on is sprouts. So when I was younger, and I was in high school, and I think even in college during summer breaks, I worked at it was like a gourmet deli, like a little cafe. And I did everything from, cashier to actually being behind the counter and making orders and waiting on tables, etc. I learned a lot at that job. It was really one of my favorite jobs. And there was one sandwich at that cafe that was always my favorite. And I don't even know why I have not recreated it in my life in the last 20-some years. But that's what I'm going to do. In about a week or so, we're going to have these turkey stack sandwiches. And one of the ingredients on it is sprouts. And I want to show you how ridiculously easy it is to grow your own sprouts for pennies compared to going to the store and buying them. So these are really old seeds. Hopefully they have some good germination right here, but these are sprouting seeds. These are no different than regular seeds that you're going to go plant in your garden. The difference with sprouting seeds, it's a certain kind of variety, right? So we've got alfalfa, clover, radish, and broccoli. If you had radish and broccoli seeds in your seed packet, right, in your little stash of seeds that you grow in your garden, you can absolutely use those. So all I'm going to do is put about a tablespoon of seeds in a glass mason jar, soak it with water, and then I'll probably soak it till about dinner time, just a few hours, and then I'll drain it, and we'll kind of rinse with water once to twice a day. Keep an eye on it. The seeds will sprout. And then once they're just like a couple of inches long, they're the perfect sprouts to put on any meal or sandwich. That's what we're going to do. Actually, I'm going to do 2 tablespoons because why not? The key with sprouts is to making sure that they are soaking for a few hours, right? It really just helps the water permeate the seed shell and really help the sprout process begin. This is called a sprouting lid. You can get these really inexpensive, and it just fits on your mason jar. So that way, when you rinse it out, you're able to save the seeds, but drain all the water. Forgive me for my sink being a mess here. I have a lot of dishes to do. I'm just gonna soak these with some water. Put the lid on. Oops, shake it around. And we're just gonna let these sit, like I said, till dinner time, and then I'll drain the water out just like this. And we'll kind of let the seeds sit in the jar on an angle and let it drain. I'll show you that later. I'm gonna get these soaking again. Okay, so all I did was take my capsules, and there's 2 parts to this capsule machine. This is, by the way, the packaging. So when you take apart your gelatin capsule, the bigger piece goes in the big part, and the smaller piece goes in the small part. So that's what I was just doing. Now I'm gonna put this is like the base that it sits on, put this on a plate. I'm going to push all of these down so that the lip of the capsule is level with the container, right, with the overall thing here. And then what I'm going to do is start spooning the powder in. I put that in there, guys, just to help keep any moisture out. I wasn't sure I was going to do this today, but then I thought, why not? And then you use this comes with it to kind of help move it around. And then this is the tamper. And so I'm just going to press down because you want to make sure you're totally filling your capsules. So that way you can then get some more in. And then we're going to take the top and push it down. So there's like a little spring action in it. And then you should have all of your capsules. Just like that. So I'm just pushing down on them, and then you use this part to push them out. Like so. And I actually have a container here. These were the capsules I was taking that I had purchased, and I kept the bottle so that I could just put my own in it. So I am just going to repeat this process. Each time I make it, I think it makes 24 capsules. So I will probably repeat this a few times until I get tired of doing it. And then just store these in the fridge with the rest of my vitamins. This machine, by the way, I've had this for, I don't know, over 10 years now. It is so simple. I'll put a link to it down below. No affiliation with it. It is really simple. I like it. And I've done this with different powders like echinacea powder, right? Echinacea root and echinacea flower. Dry that out, grind it up, and put that in to help with immunity boost as well. I've done all kinds of fun herbal things, but I'm gonna keep at this and I'll let you know when I'm done. All right, I got 144 done. I'm happy with that. I'm probably gonna take, what I do with my vitamins is I take half in the morning, half at night, right? So I get a continuous cycle going into my body. So I'll probably take 1 or 2 in the morning and 1 or 2 at night. And I still have plenty of powder left. All in all, I would say this was worth the effort and a good experiment. That's our cat. She's wondering where the dog is. Okay, it is 5 o'clock on Friday, January 6th. Still the 6th day. I feel like these days are going forever. I go back to work on Monday, and I think actually it'll be a blessing because I have no concept of time right now. All right. Dinner was going to be those pork chops. I've got all of the stuff here on the counter behind me there in the brine. And you know what? I don't want to do it. I don't want to cook pork chops tonight. I am still just feeling a little run down and tired. And I've got to get myself better these next couple of days so I can take on the week ahead with gusto. And so tonight we're going to pivot and we're going to do the pork chops tomorrow night. And so tonight we're going to have grilled cheese and tomato soup. Sounds really good to me. It's a cold, chilly night. So back in August with homegrown tomatoes and herbs, I canned up some tomato soup. So I'm going to put that on the stove. And then that loaf of bread that I baked the other day, I just sliced it. Basically, it is all sliced. I'm just going to make a bunch of grilled cheese sandwiches. And I think my daughter wants like open face pizza. So I've got cheddar, I've got mozzarella. I've actually got some leftover marinara that was in the fridge as well. So very simple dinner tonight. But I think I guess the key message here I want to portray is don't be afraid to just change it up, right? The pork chops will be okay for another day in the brine, in the fridge. Don't go crazy trying to stick to a certain script in your life, whatever that may be, whether it be cooking or something else, right? Allow yourself some grace, allow yourself some room to breathe, some flexibility, and just go with it. Go with what you're feeling. And this is what I'm feeling. So I'll show it to you when it's finally done. You know how to make grilled cheese and tomato soup. I'll just show you when it's done. Dinner is done. We've got the open pizza toast. We've got tomato soup with grilled cheese. Ready to eat. See you tomorrow. Hey friends, it is 4:45 on Saturday, January 7th. We are finishing out this first week of the Three Rivers Challenge, and we've had a pretty good day. I'm feeling better. I'm ready to eat some pork chops. They're in the brine in the fridge. I'm gonna take them out. I've kind of got everything behind me on the counter ready. So what I'm gonna do is I'm adding some green beans. These are home canned green beans that I did back in June. So I'm gonna put those in a saucepan, heat them up, and we're gonna have them with our dinner. But I'm basically going to saute shallots with rosemary and butter, get them really softened, chop up the apples, and then add the apples in. The potatoes, I have 1 pound of red potatoes, are in the Instant Pot, and I put them on 8 minutes with just a little bit of water to help steam them. Once they're done, I'll slice them in half or quarters and add them into the pan with the shallots, butter, rosemary, apple mixture. I also have my stove heating up, the oven heating up to 425, and I'm going to get the stovetop heating up with 2 cast iron skillets, because that's what I'm going to sear the pork in, and then it's going to go in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes to get to that perfect temperature. So we are hungry, dare I say hangry. I know I am. So we're going to start getting dinner together. So I took the potatoes out of the Instant Pot when it was done and took them over to the cutting board and sliced them. You saw me put them in the pan. It's very possible my potatoes are slightly overcooked because they're falling apart, but it's okay. Everything smells great. I added, what you saw me add there was salt, pepper, thyme, a little dehydrated garlic, and dehydrated onions. And I added a splash of apple cider vinegar. hopefully that'll work. I don't have the apple brandy, right? And I thought maybe the apple cider vinegar would work. So pork chops are in the oven. The green beans are done. This is done. Just gonna plate it up.
I know where it is. I know where the screwdriver is. This one's gonna be mine.
No,
Uh-huh.
that one's Daddy's.
No, that one's mine.
That one's Daddy's.
That one's mine because I like green beans and that's.
This can be yours.
No, this is mine.
And dinner is served. Before I sign off for the night, I just wanted to show you the sprouts. So you can probably see that they are, some of them are actually starting to sprout. So all I'm doing about 3 to 4 times a day is rinsing with clean water. Shake it up. You just want to get every sprout wet. And then shake it out, because you don't want them soaking in the water, right? It's just like you're watering your seeds. And then I kind of make sure all the water's out, and then I shake it around to kind of help distribute the seeds and the sprouts just along the edge. And then I prop it in a bowl just like that, so any further water can drain out. But this is all I'm doing about 3 to 4 times a day, and today is the second day, so you'll actually start to see the sprouts come pretty quick. That concludes the first week of the 3 Rivers Challenge. So excited to eat this dinner, by the way. Again, Lost Kitchen, the rosemary apple brined pork chops.
One more. Come on, let's go for a walk.
People love when you make cameos.
I love watching you do your thing and making the magic so other people are able to learn these awesome things.
See you tomorrow.